You're now listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.
Welcome to ASEAN BIZ, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. I'm Chia.
And I'm Chong.
And we bring you business news on everything that happens around the world that involves ASEAN countries. We would like to welcome our guests today, Mr. Jay and Mr. Wong from the company Empire Green Industries. Jay, welcome to the studio.
It's nice. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and Mr. Wong.
Mr. Wong.
We are glad to have you here today.
Thank you for inviting us to voice out.
Yes, our Durian main story today is pioneers of the hydrophilic green wall. But before that, let's look at our current business updates on the topic of a horrible start for 2016. Okay, Andrew, what's so horrible about 2016?
Yeah, for a start, US is having a horrible start. It's about to enter a recession. And it says here the research done by CENFIS, the Center for Financial Intelligence Studies, somebody commented, an economist, behind the horrible start to 2016 for risky asset valuations lies a material downgrade of global growth over the long term. Clearly, the near-term concern for markets is that the US and global data show elevated risk that the US is about to enter a recession. That's bad for US, right?
That's a very scary news and a very scary forecast to start the 2016.
Yeah, right. At the beginning of the year, we are really having some hard time.
And over the other side of the earth, China started the year with a crashing stock market.
Wow.
Right? So on this side of the world, US is facing almost a recession, and the other side of the world, China is having a stock market crash. Right? Circuit breakers set in place to automatically stop trading when losses hit a certain level. Shut down trading on Monday, the first day of trading after the new year.
First day itself
is stop loss already. So in this case, it's called stop loss. So when trading hits stop loss, it cuts it down.
Yeah, bad, yeah?
Yes. And it happened again Wednesday, just after 29 minutes after the market opening. Crazy, right?
After that, China cut off the circuit breaker altogether because it wasn't helping at all.
So, in actual fact, China was trading without any stop losses.
That is even more scary.
Scary, it will hit them bottom. And then the market across the world started reacting because, China is the world's second largest economy.
Yeah, the largest economy we mentioned earlier is the US.
It's going to enter into recession.
China is the number 2 taiko. And in fact, if you count by PPP, that is a purchasing power parity on the gross domestic product or GDP, China is already ranked number 1 ahead of the US. So these two are joint leaders of the world economy.
It just so happens that China is considered new player in the market. People still look at US as the benchmark.
Yes. If you look at GDP on nominal terms, the US is about 16 or 17 trillion, whereas China is way behind at about 5 or 6 trillion only. And it will take quite a long time for China to actually catch up in terms of nominal GDP.
But actually, if you look at it, the US are actually paying a lot of attention to the movement in China market.
Yes.
When the China market start to have a flu, the whole world actually trembles.
And besides the two taikos, China and US, stocks tumbled across Arab Saudi and the Middle East stock markets. Markets across the Middle East tumbled as Iran entered the market with more oil production just to hit Saudi for killing their cleric. Recently there's some fight going on between Saudi and Iran, right?
Yes.
Whereby an Iranian was killed by the Saudis. So, of course, the Iran people were very angry. But the other nations gang up behind Saudi, and it seems that they are having a kind of a fight there.
They're having a few days.
So Iran jumps into the market happily and increased the production of the oil just to make Saudi angry, right?
And that caused the prices of oil drops further.
To tumble across the earth.
Yes, and recently a report from Bloomberg, it says that since 75 years ago, for the past 75 years, everybody is very happy that crude oil dropped prices. But at this junction, the world economy is actually affected by the drop of oil prices.
This is another oil shock.
And consumer spending actually drops. the oil company spending is also dropped.
So Eric, what happened to ASEAN?
Right. Actually, stock markets across ASEAN also fell correspondingly. In ASEAN, we quickly felt effects of these reactions. Cost of living spikes and sales tumble. Retail sales fell between 20 to 50% in Malaysia.
Wow, that's quite scary, right?
And
yeah, recently, this past couple of weeks, I was talking to some retail people, and they tell me that their sales recently have dropped around 40%.
Yes, and because the festive season is so nearby, and we can see that those retails are not really making robust business as compared to a few years ago. So maybe we just ask our guests today, Mr. J and Mr. Wong.
How's the business
How's
on
the
your
business
side?
and what's your take about this kind of situation?
And what do you feel about 2016? Mr. Wong?
Mr. Wong is a very...
since the middle of last year. Of course,
already have some warning, right?
Turnover has gone down. Our head gone up. Because we also now start to gear to export our technology. But fortunately, this year we got the first strike. We are exporting this technology that we have.
Wow,
to China.
congratulations.
Wow, okay.
It's good business.
But in terms of the past earning, we also suffer collection problems. Even listed companies.
I got that feedback from a lot of customers also.
Even public listed companies are slow
yes.
Payment.
Yes, that's true. In fact, it's across the board. Most industries facing problem in their collections, and especially in the construction industry, it's even worse.
Collection is bad, yeah.
So when the construction industries have bad collections, the ripples effects comes in.
Totally agree.
So rarely have financial markets had a more traumatic start to the year. Shares plunged. The price of oil clattered to its lowest level in 11 years. Trading on the stock market in China was halted twice, and the World Bank warned that a perfect storm might be brewing. Sounds scary, right?
Yes.
And $2 trillion was wiped off global stock markets. North Koreans claimed that they had exploded a hydrogen bomb, and relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran worsened markedly.
Right. I think Mr. J would like to add in a few things.
Although the markets are seemingly slowing down, in terms of the vertical garden or greening our cities, we are seeing a slow but sure leaning towards as the younger generation see the importance of green and a clean living. So yeah, I agree with the outlook, but saying that there is a shift in thought process and mindset towards a clean and green cities.
So in a way, we are actually looking at our next generation to save our economy.
Hopefully.
So in this sense, we ask this question: what can we do in ASEAN?
Yeah, despite all the bad news that 2016 started off so badly, so what can we actually do in our countries in ASEAN? And we have 10 countries here.
Yes, and as we cautioned many weeks and months earlier, 2016 may be a very rough year for all of us at ASEAN. We even have one earlier. ASEAN BIZ edition titled Global Financial Collapse sometime last year. We have also advised a few measures and precautions, like cut down expenses and luxury items, cut down debts, interest kills you. Be innovative, whether as an entrepreneur or an employee. Especially for entrepreneurs, make sure you have a USP or strengthen your USP. This will drastically increase your chances during bad times.
Yes, and Mr. Wong has something to add on some advice for entrepreneurs in ASEAN.
Yeah, I was invited last month to speak to the ASEAN Conference of Engineers in Penang. My topic was actually to introduce what we call eco-engineering. That means marrying ecosystem with engineering. Also, to a certain extent, making engineering an art rather than a boring subject. Of course, I focus is on the water reuse and also using what we call the eco-engineering to actually what they call help the ASEAN cities to leapfrog into water-sensitive cities through innovative ideas and technology. And one of the technology, of course, was to look into urban greening, vertical farming, green roof, to even in the future urban orchards.
Mr. Wong, what you mean is this is a lucrative business that can be explored in ASEAN even during bad times. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's right. I think that will be a good starting point.
Right.
And also, imagine if you have the green roof and vertical garden, you actually also bring the temperature down. That is, it's actually a saving of energy. And then, of course, looking into the water side, not only, let's say, the stormwater management, not only you are removing the rubbish, the nutrient, and the sediment from the drain, and indirectly you can clean the river, the water can be reused for irrigation. So when you are using this, you reuse water for irrigations, you also reduce your consumption of potable waters.
Great, Mr. Wong. Thank you so much. It seems that it's a very innovative product. And just now, Eric was mentioning about USP, that is a unique selling proposition. That means whether during good times or bad times, if your business has got a USP, something unique which most or everyone else does not have, then your business will stand a very good chance of success, right? And during these times when green stuff and eco and clean stuff are quite new in the market, there's a good opportunity for success in this area and this industry, right?
Yes.
Just to add that.
Yes, Jay.
Just like we are in the green business, we sometimes need to learn from nature. When all the components are provided to a plant, the flower would bloom. So friendly advice to entrepreneurs: as long as we love what we're doing and continue to persevere and put in all the hard work and perspiration, eventually it will bloom. And even in an outlook of doom and gloom happening all around us.
Jay, what you mean is that not only while you're greening your environment, you can actually make some money and become successful in this area of business, right?
Correct.
Fantastic. We'll hear more from Jay and Mr. Wong shortly while we bring you more updates on ASEAN. Let's take a short break now. Stay tuned, guys. Welcome back, folks. Before we bring on our main story for this edition, Eric is going to share with you his funny business moment. And the title of his story today is The Job.
Right. 3 contractors are bidding to fix a broken fence at the White House. Okay, we refer White House. One is from Chicago, another is from Tennessee, and the third one is from Minnesota. All 3 go with a White House official to examine the fence. The Minnesota contractor takes out a measuring tape and started measuring. Then he works some figures with a pencil. Well, he said, I figured the job will run about $900. $400 for materials, $400 for my crews, and $100 profit for me. The Tennessee contractors also does some measuring and figuring. Then said, I can do this job for $700. $300 for materials, $300 for my crews, and $100 profit for me. The Chicago contractor doesn't measure all figures, but leans over to the White House official and whispers, 2007. The official, incredulous, said, you didn't even measure like the other guys. How did you come up with such a high figure? The Chicago contractor whispered back, 1,000 for me, 1,000 for you, and we hire the guy from Tennessee to fix the fence. Done, replies the government official. And that, my friend, is how the new stimulus plan will work.
Believe it or not, guys, I gotta say this. Luckily for us at ASEAN, we are not so corrupted as the US. Thank you, Eric, for that funny business moment. Welcome back to the show, guys. You're listening to ASEAN BIZ, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. I'm your host, Andrew Chia, and together with me is Eric Chong, and we bring you business news on everything that happens around the world, which involves ASEAN countries.
The title of our Durian main story today is Pioneers of the Hydrophilic Grid War. We welcome Mr. J and Mr. Wong to our show to talk about their business.
Yes, Jay and Wong, let me ask you this question. What makes your business or your products different? And what is your main selling point?
So Empire Green Industries, in partnership with EcoClean Technologies, have produced a soilless vertical garden system powered by a patented technology called Hydro Substrate. This latest technology of structural media is a smart water management system with optimum mix of air and water to ensure perfect plant growth. Together with an automatic irrigation, provides minimum maintenance and enables the reuse of rainwater and treated storm water for vertical and rooftop greenery.
Great, fantastic. It's basically a green wall or a planting of plants and leaves, right?
Yes.
Without
correct.
the normal traditional way of going about it.
Correct. And because our system allows for smart water management, where there is lack of water or there is reduced water, we are able to provide a solution in terms of treated water, rainwater, but also in areas where there is constrained spaces. Because it's 70% lighter, we are able to do some greening in the balcony, rooftop, using our hydrophilic foam.
So, Jay, what you're saying is very suitable for a dry country like Malaysia that has only about 80 inches of rain with a lot of water rationing going around. It's very suitable, right, for this country to use.
For Malaysia to say, we lack water.
Yeah, we are having water rationing every now and then, right?
It's a joke. It's a joke.
I love that. You're taking the shine off Mr. Eric.
But we as Malaysians, I think, is in a positive position that we should not be saying that we lack water. But a system allows for smart water management, whereby you are able to retain 30% more water using this soilless substrate.
So that means you are using less clean water or rainwater, right?
Correct.
Yeah, this soilless substrate, imagine an inch of foam-looking material. It can replace, say, 12-inch or 300 mm of soil, actual soil, or even more. That also means you can actually use this to refurbish your roof, right?
It's less messy, right?
Yeah.
Just 2 or 3 inches can substitute for 1 foot of traditional soil.
Engineering speaking is actually lessen the stress on the building. So
Yes.
in a way,
It's very light.
the engineering factors
That
need
means
not
you
to
can
be so high.
retrofit building into that. In our little nursery at Tengkil, we actually put it on top of a very thin zinc roof.
Vertically or horizontally?
Or it's a roof, of course,
It's a roof.
horizontally.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can put it vertically, right? Just like a wall.
Of course.
Everything that we do is either vertical or on the roof. So we are specializing in systems that provides this kind of solution.
So whether it's a vertical or horizontal, it really saves a lot of space and the weight is very light, right?
Correct.
It's just 2 or 3 inches thick.
Yeah. Yeah. We also actually experimenting our green green vertical wall as a grey water treatment. That means we use the water that's discharged from the laundry and your bath water, and then use it irrigated to this green
Reuse
vertical
it.
roof, which actually removes some of the nutrients and so on. Then the treated water is then reused to flush your toilet and all that. That means to say that you use your potable water twice.
Killing
And there's
2
no
stones with
discharge.
1 bird.
Exactly, that's the right
Oh,
word to
sorry.
describe
I mean killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay.
So in this sense, does the installation will become messy where you need to mix re-alter the piping systems, or does that cause any kind of
we take
downtime to certain things, right?
I believe they actually grow it in another place and they just install it. Is that right?
That's right. We, at our research or our little nursery, we provide jobs to as a social entrepreneurship.
Wow, you are giving employment to a lot of people.
Whereby they come from socially
Poor families.
And by providing a job opportunity to remove it from soil and place it into a soilless substrate pre-planted in our panels, and then we supply it to developers, hotels, our current premium clients.
That's great, Jay. You're killing more birds with one stone, I can see.
Without killing, hopefully.
So in this sense, which means that let's say a hotel can be actually self-sustained if they have their own rooftop garden that's sizable enough to plant their own greens.
Yeah, we believe also there is a saving in terms of energy cost, because the green roof and especially the vertical wall facing the hot sun is what we call westerly sun. You will save your energy consumption, and because it cools down the building.
Great. So Mr. Wong, Jay, can you give our listeners, particularly those who are from Malaysia, some examples where you have actually installed these walls or this product?
Yes. So currently you can view some of our art. We love to call it art. Because we believe greening is not just provides lots of benefits, but also is beautiful to the eye. So you can catch us or see some of our installation at Mid Valley at the center court.
Fantastic.
We not only did a green wall, but we've wrapped a pillar using our flexi hydrophilic foam. A similar system has been placed with the state government of Malacca at their office premise. Also, you can catch or view our installation in KL. There are a couple of restaurants in PJ that have used us. One such restaurant is Awesome Canteen. Not only do they serve awesome burgers and coffee, one of my favorite places to visit, but they have an awesome green wall hidden at the back where a lot of the patrons have their celebrations, children's party, because they love the ambience. A green wall provides the eatery.
Fantastic, wonderful. So guys, you can actually visit and take a look at the samples. If you love it, you can call Jay or Mr. Wong to come to your house. They will be happily installing for you, either on your roof or on your walls. So hey guys, did you remember you to stick your name on your products and your installations, so that people know that, hey, this is from Empire Green?
So you can find out more about us at our webpage at www.empiregreen.com.my.
Right, definitely. We will remember to tell you your email and your website again at the end of our show.
We will even flash this information in our site.
Yeah, our Facebook page
to actually access it directly through the link.
Yes. Right. Just to say that playing with plants or interacting with plants produces it's just not beautiful for the eye, but it has many health benefits. When we install a green wall or a green roof, we are hoping that the public or families are able to interact with plants, which will strengthen their immune system, and there are many intangible benefits of interacting with nature. So it has
fantastic,
and also cultivate their love for nature.
Yes, you'll remind everyone,
which is very crucial in today's city living.
Definitely.
Yes, our beautiful planet. So before we talk a little bit more about your product, maybe we go back a little bit to some background. What were you guys doing before you actually started or took part in this business, and what made you select this particular industry? Mr. Wong or Jay can go first. So you can want to zoom?
I will start off because my background is very limited in compared to Mr. Wong. He has a vast
You mean you take only one page, whereas Mr. Wong will need to write a book, is it?
Yes. He's our business mentor, and he comes with a lot of experience. So my background is more of a social entrepreneur. For the last 8 years working out of the UK, and even before that as a social worker.
You mean you were in the UK before?
I was working as a social worker in the UK, working out of
social worker or social activist?
Social
or both?
Entrepreneur, because we were trying to get to interact with young people who are in the gangs to come out of the.
You mean in the gangs, as in mob?
Yeah, the local gangs, because they start very young, not nowadays, whether it's in Malaysia or in other parts of the world. So we were having interactive programs of music, sports and arts to connect with young people.
Fantastic.
Bring them out. So eventually I realized...
How long were you there, Jay?
I was there for 8 years.
Wow, 8 long years.
Yes, and I loved what we did. But there was a calling back to beautiful Malaysia. Hence,
thanks, Jay, for reminding us.
Coming back to Malaysia, we kind of moved not just into social entrepreneurship, but eco-social entrepreneurship. Nowadays, we get the young people who are engage in negative activities to stop painting the walls red with blood and to start painting it green with green walls.
That sounds like a better idea.
Yes, thank you. And Mr. Wong has a wider experience.
I'll just make it short. I actually did my engineering training, mechanical engineers training in Singapore, and then I advanced myself to an MBA from UK, and I work in Singapore with a family. Those days was a McConnell family. Today they are my partner. I mean the second generations of the family was my partner, and we ventured out Malaysia. So after McConnell, and I actually worked with another British group in Malaysia, joint venture with a local company, which I think today they have become very, very big in the region. So I was made, or rather promoted as the manager for Southeast Asia. But after some time, I decided to call it a day and start something new. So I'm like doing pioneering.
Was it a brave
technology move? Well, it's a bit, I don't know, maybe our jealousy that we can become super rich. Okay. I just wanted to try something different. Not so much with money, but rather rather
you had
able to
dream.
Spend time with my wife and my children, because being manager for the Southeast Asia region, it takes me traveling all the time, so much so that I have little time to see my children, my wife, until they say, and when I was a bit affordable, so I actually look into the technology. So I pioneer one technology. Again, I don't want to mention it because it was taken over by a politician and business group. Then forming this, taking the license from Australia, where they just use it for the Olympic Park. I think it's a bold steps. So this was taken in joint venture with my former company, McConnell family. So we got the third license, and after that it was the Korean, Japan, and the license now for CDS happened to be a world leading technology in the world. I think we are fortunate in a sense that the government does listen to us, and we actually start to look into the best way to remove rubbish from a drain so that the river become clean. So we were able to convince Putrajaya that this technology not just remove rubbish but actually filter your water. At the same time, it costs less in capital works, as well as your operation costs, like which is labor intensive, is reduced by 5 times. So that was a first break. So after Putrajaya, I think we were involved in some of the prestige projects like Nottingham University, Bandar Botanic, and later on the River of Lies, Sungai Melaka, Iskandar regions.
There's a lot of projects you're involved in.
And now, of course, we still continue to pick up projects, especially international companies that are investing in prestige development in the Putrajaya. So we advance the technology further to reduce to actually not just treat the water but also reuse. But of course, nobody listened to us unless we demonstrate that how we can use this reuse water for irrigation.
Like they say,
That's
a
how
picture
we
is worth
acquire-
1,000 words.
Yeah, that's why we acquire the company and turn with J, turning that into a subsidiary. We want to also demonstrate that, from here on, we can actually also making engineering a piece of art.
Yeah.
So of course,
You guys are really killing many birds with one stone.
Without killing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, we are now comfortable, and we also decided to do a bit more social work. We also have taught schools. We let the children learn about what they call very safe vertical farming and we want them to create what they call live pictures, long vertical garden. With beautiful creation from the children.
I think if Mr. Wong speaks a bit more, Eric and myself will get very jealous.
Yes.
It's such a wonderful and very meaningful industry, and killing many birds at the same time without killing.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Mr. Wong, could you recall what was the main obstacle you had to overcome before you started this business, or while you were starting the business?
Oh, I think our first finding was at 15 years ago that actually nobody cared about.
Yeah, that's the
environment.
biggest problem.
Yeah.
Trying to create awareness when nobody bothers, right?
Yeah, but we have, I think, literally spent about 2 years, promoting like NGO alongside. I remember was the WWF. Malaysian Nature Society. We were the first one promoting, helping the government participate in what they call in the early 70s, I think, 80s. Remember the Clean River campaign? And of course, we pushed on until it was a time that realized that, the Kuala Lumpur flash flood. A lot of this flash flood is caused by rubbish that
stuck on the longgangs and the
longgang
drains.
and so on. And then we start to promote this idea of what has been done in the Sydney Olympic, this CDS technology, and demonstrate that this is through the Putrajaya projects that this is actually cost effective and also operation-wise is save
I can
a lot
imagine
of money.
it's really a big obstacle trying to create awareness for a new product or a new system. So, Mr. Wong, could you recall roughly how long you took before the market actually sort of sit up and listens and say, look, this is something that we really got to pay some attention to?
Okay, I can recall, from earning a 5-figure salary, and I start off with from my house turning my servant room into a small office with my wife struggling. I think for first 2 years we are like NGO, and the next few years we start to employ professionals and train people, to create a market. And I sold first house, I sold my second house, and then later on I sold the only house I have.
Oh,
then I
what a
start borrowing
fantastic
money
sacrifice.
from my family until the first break comes through. That is when they decided to have what they call stormwater management guideline.
Fantastic.
Modeling what they call the developed countries model, and that actually give us the USP that this is probably the one or two technology that able to achieve that standard, and yet it is cheaper than conventional technology, such as some big size trash screens, mechanical screening systems, and so on. CDS technology basically harness the energy from the water, so there is no electricity. It create a vortex by adding the screen with a certain design that cause the water to U-turn. So at the same time, imagine there's a bottom, there is a basket to
collect the waste.
Whatever heavier is sink down, and whatever floating is remain floating and keep turning. So with a oil buffer plate, we also trap the oil and imagine
remove the waste.
The water that comes out actually is clean. So I think the technologies have a better future now, especially Shell when they do, Shell when they have the first LEED Gold green building in Malaysia. They use this technology.
Yes.
I think Eco City also using this, and then from there on, I think we have also now using this technology for green building. Lately, we just pick up an order from China. I think if we handle the China market well, I think our potential is great.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mr. Wong. You know, Eric, every time we listen to stories from entrepreneurs, we've listened to so many, right? We get tears in our eyes.
Yes.
Because it's very common for people to start from scratch or start from very little and then go through an extremely tough time trying to build awareness in the market for their products or for their industry. You know, and eventually they reap the fruits of their very difficult labor.
And we can actually observe all these success stories. It's actually they are driven by their passions, and their goals and their objective. Not too much about what other agendas and all these things, you know. And in this sense, that Mr. Wong actually, I would say, table down everything he have.
Yes, that's why today we are very honored and privileged to have entrepreneurs like Mr. Wong and Jay to be at our studio to share with us their hard work and to remind listeners out there that you will have your reward eventually.
So on our following sessions, the second sessions of our story, maybe we would like Mr. Wong and Jay how they can link up their Mr. Wong's stormwater technology together with Jay's Hydrophilic green wall technology to comes in together, right? And in this way, we will take a short break and be back with our story shortly. Stay tuned, guys. Don't go away.
Welcome back. You are listening to ASEAN BIZ, and our Durian main story today is Pioneers of the Hydrophilic Green Wall. But before we continue with the concluding part of our story today, Eric will give us a quick health tip. Now, Eric is our health and fitness coach, and he runs the 100-kilometer marathon himself. His health tip today is the top 5 best memory-boosting foods.
Thank you, Andrew. And I think at our age, we really need to look into our memory-boosting foods.
Hey, right? Eric, be careful about that. I'm younger than you.
Okay, in terms of months, yes, maybe.
Don't be too much.
Okay, the top 5 best memory-boosting foods. I believe a lot of people say that certain foods can help certain things, but
I really need to improve my memory.
Right, this is the top 5. Blueberries. Nutrients packed in berries help reverse age-related problems in the area of brain function, improve learning and motor skills and visions.
I love blueberry cake.
Yes.
Does that count?
That doesn't count. You got to eat blueberries by itself. Together with the cakes, you are building in a lot of calories inside.
Okay. Plain blueberries, you mean?
Blueberries, blackberries, or berries will be fine.
Great.
Green tea. The EGCG protects the brain. It lowers the amount of protein that builds up as plaque linked to memory loss and nerve damage.
Green tea, I love that. Right. I go to Sushi King and take green tea. Does that count or not?
Yes, that's count. And while taking green tea, there are certain measures you need to take green teas. For elderly person, try to take the green tea before 3 p.m. Or the best part is during the morning, not after 3 p.m. Right? Then dark chocolate. Dark chocolate reduces inflammations and may help prevent oxidations in the brain, which is a precursor to many neurological diseases.
So, Eric, when are you going to buy for me dark chocolate?
I'm still looking for the correct dark chocolate for you. I'm looking for the 90% type for you to savor.
I don't actually mind, as long as it's dark chocolate. I'm okay.
Yeah, if you look for dark chocolate, look for those 80% and above. And they don't call themselves milk chocolate, they call themselves cocoa. Those are the dark chocolate that you should be taking. Then
Great.
Apples. Apples could have dementia fighting qualities. Vitamin C is a known factor in the reduction of Alzheimer's.
Right. So an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right?
Yes. Then avocados. This healthy monounsaturated fat increases blood flow to the brain. That means more oxygen getting into this part of your brain that help you to think and to remember details.
You expect me to bite avocados raw or what?
There's ways to eat avocados. Of course, a lot of people might not like the taste or smell of avocados.
Yeah.
And the slimy texture of
It's
avocado.
usually on my facial cream.
Normally, how I take avocado is just you scrape it out, sprinkle a little bit of fine sugar,
Not salt.
fine sugar, and if can, you just mix it with a little bit of honey, then spread over your breads or crackers. That would be great.
Okay, guys, great. Avocados, apples, dark chocolate, green tea, and blueberries. These will increase your memory. Thanks, Eric, for that useful health tip. Let's continue with our durian main story today, that is, the pioneers of the hydrophilic green wall.
We would like to welcome back Jay and Mr. Wong to our show.
Thank you.
The second half of the show. Right.
Our next question for our guest is, what do you expect in 3 years' times in terms of market share and total business volume? Do you foresee some competition coming in, and what do you actually do to go about it?
This is actually a little bit sensitive. We are doing too good when this technology was adopted for Iskandar development. It started off, was actually specified different brand, but out of the natural economics, we end up like 95% of the market shares.
That's fantastic.
But of course, that trigger.
Of course, competition.
Not just competitions.
Jealousy in the market.
Because we are actually a Malaysian and New Zealand group, JV. So the local companies really make a serious complaint, and the government, just before election, they have to reduce the standards so that everybody can participate
in the tenders and the contracts and the projects.
So that means they are putting the standards backward. Sorry to say that.
To reverse.
So we have to push ourselves then to export overseas. I think we starting now to get our first break. Of course, in China, Singapore, and of course we start to promote this technology through ASEAN region.
Yeah, that's what they call a blue ocean strategy. When there's a lot of competition coming over to your neighborhood,
that's right.
You look for new markets somewhere.
That's right.
Logical.
That's right. And also we venture a bit further by demonstrate how we can close the stormwater loop. That means, your stormwater, not only you remove rubbish, even the water that been treated by our system, especially now we acquire this the green wall technology. That means we can actually reuse the water so much so that you don't discharge your water, and that also helps then the downstream from the flooding situations. So I find now China is particularly interested to look into this new technology.
So, Mr. Wong, in this sense, which means to say that your stormwater technology actually comes in sync with Jay's green wall technology at the same time. So the synergies are there, and you all can work together very well on this part. And maybe Jay would give us a more detailed outlook of your market share in terms of your green wall in the industry.
Right. Yeah,
what are the competitions that you face?
Yes, Eric, talking about competition, we have so many stories of entrepreneurs who started off with a lot of passion and a lot of interest and attention paid to their products. They love their products and they believe the products can do a lot of good for the market, for the people, for the country. And when they start off, it's usually very difficult. You have to build brand awareness for the product. But unfortunately, after everything is built, like they say, when the field is dry and nobody will bother.
Nobody will toil the field.
After you build the field, you toil the field, everybody will come and get the water and reap the benefits of your efforts in building the awareness. And the competition will come in, fake and counterfeit products will come in, cheaper stuff will come in, and people who are jealous, who can't get a piece of the cake, they will try to destroy your market, make complaints to the government, make complaints on the papers and all that. So, we actually have to take all these as a natural process of business. And unfortunately, a lot of businessmen and entrepreneurs, they are not prepared for this kind of so-called nonsense coming into their lives,
Yes, and I believe that a lot of entrepreneurs spend a lot of their efforts and resources in developing products, and very less efforts in their marketing and in their awareness creation.
Yeah, I believe Jay and Mr. Wong has done tremendously well in creating awareness and building a great market for their products. Now they're in the phase of protecting and solidifying their position in the market.
Correct.
So maybe we can let Jay to speak a bit more on his portion of the green wall.
So the first few years, I would say the first 4 years, we were trying to build a kind of awareness, and what we found, the obstacle that we had was there were many people indulging or entering into the market without installing or creating a sustainable system, and this produced a bad report, a bad name for the vertical and green roof industry.
Which means they were actually trying to do what you were doing, but they actually failed, right?
That's right.
And that will actually give the market a bad impression.
And I believe that during the early days, a lot of people face is the waterproofing problem.
Correct.
And that will actually deters a lot of developers to shy away from the green roof.
Being in an ASEAN country, we have probably one of the biggest, the broadest amount of plant selection. In Malaysia alone, we have 100
wonderful
variety
selection
of begonias alone. And the beauty about experience is we've learned through this 4 or 5 years of working in the green wall and green roof industry here in Malaysia and Singapore, this region, we've learned what works, and we've gained experience from the choice of plants, the kinds of sustainable system, our built-in irrigation, and now being under the umbrella of Mr. Wong's eco-clean technology, we are gaining or abstracting the experience and the business network and their influence in terms of changing policies, because if you look at other ASEAN countries, countries like Taiwan, Singapore, Indonesia, the government subsidizes 50% of all green walls and green roofs installed. And we hope that to be able to see more countries or more people or governments subsidizing or supporting the move towards green walls and green roof, and not just as a way of ticking the boxes in terms of greening your building as a green building, but in terms of seeing the return in their investment in the amount of elderly or younger people playing on the green roof and interacting with plants, because there are many intangible as well as tangible benefits of playing with
So
nature.
you're actually having to double your marketing efforts to make sure everywhere you distribute your green walls and have a more awareness and kind of position yourself as the leader in the market.
Yes. Currently, we are seeing that there are many of our those who have used our system come back to us a second time. So we want to be able to build a reputation that our systems, our hydrophilic foam, which is a soilless substrate, is more sustainable, and the choice of plants and the design that we provide, and together with the experience of eco-clean technologies in terms of engineering
Right.
and reuse of stormwater and treated water, would provide a holistic
Yes.
approach to the green walls.
Testimonies are very important in a business. Make sure all these wonderful testimonies, especially from big valued customers, they are on your website and available for everyone to see, and they will fall in love
Yes.
with more of your products.
So, Jay, maybe, do you see that our government will actually give incentive for users to actually goes into this technology?
I will let Mr. Wong answer with his influence in the government sector.
I think we are still trying very hard. At the moment, I think we are actually sponsoring a lot of events, especially projects as say Go Green.
Yes.
We have actually like for instance, every year we support iGEM, which is organized by government, to promote this vertical wall as a green technology for the future. But I think probably it takes time, a bit of time, when people start to see the advantage. And looking forward, where you see the business side is not expanding. So this could be a way to save energy by using plant, for instance, to
because
insulate your building. You can even now, like we are venturing into vertical farming. Jay already have his nice harvest of herbs, fruits from the vertical wall from our nursery in
That would be
Thank you.
great. I would like to see it. With my own eyes
I have
and
actually
just-
seen it myself. It's wonderful. I will
Okay.
share with you that image, photo
I don't
from
want
my
photos. I
WhatsApp.
want to see the real thing.
Okay, I'll
Jay
bring
will
it for
got to
you.
Take me
Yeah.
around. I have to force Jay to take me around.
Jay will take me and you to Dankil, and you will buy us lunch. How about that?
Not a big issues.
Okay,
Our
great.
nursery is close to one of the best. I'm plugging our local delicacy. Our nursery is close to one of the best char siu paos.
yes.
And I
in
believe-
Selangor, and
Hey,
hopefully the
that
whole of
sounds not
Malaysia.
very halal, bro.
and thank you, serve one of the best udang gala.
I mean,
that's
just
right.
in case you
Yes.
guys don't know where the best food in Dankil is, I know.
That's not a big issue.
So, dear listeners, the place is called Dankil. It's located in Malaysia. Because we are an ASEAN station for our guests, we have 10 countries, so we must not forget our neighbors. Only people from Malaysia, particularly in the Klang Valley, are welcome to join us on a field trip to Dankil
Yes.
to see Jay's farm.
At the nursery, we kind of also allow for the visitors to be exposed to a soilless vertical garden, a rooftop on tin roof. We also have green pergolas, indoor gardens, outdoor gardens, vertical farming. So you're most welcome to come and experience for yourself firsthand.
So Jay, if I organize my gang of runners to go and visit your facilities, are we welcome or not?
You are most welcome. On
Jay,
behalf
before
of-
that, please send us some photos. We will put on our Durian ASEAN Facebook for the visitors to see.
You're most welcome.
To attract them. And is it like, let's say, Mr. Wong is working very closely with the government to actually instill certain policies, incentives for the users, and we see that the government actually give a lot of incentive to young entrepreneurs, small and medium entrepreneurs, but hardly we see them giving incentive to the user, right? So in a sense, should the users have more incentive to use your products, then I would believe that your product will have a better market, a much more wider shares of the market. So I think in this way, Mr. Wong have to work double hard to actually instill the thought to the government to give the user incentive. Because as you can see that with the MSC corridors coming up already in, those in the IT business that goes into the MSC's corridor.
I believe their products are already in MSC, is it?
Mm-hmm.
You have some products there?
Yes. That is your products. I'm talking about how to instill the government to give incentive
yes.
to users.
Correct.
That should be better.
That should be a better way.
Yeah.
Right.
In countries like Taiwan, Japan, South Korea has about an initiative of 1 million green roofs alone. 1 million green roof, not the amount of square feet, but amount of installation. All of this installation, whether it's green wall, even in Singapore, whether it's green wall or green roof, the government's incentive to the user is 50%. So it's already catching on to other parts of the world, and we hope with Mr. Wong and the team of front runners, they'll be able to influence the government to start using, because the benefits is not just for this generation, for the generations
for
to
the
come,
future company,
whereby
generations to come.
with the interaction with nature, biophilic interaction with plants allows for a better working experience and health for those in the work.
Fantastic, wonderful. I believe you all got a work cut out for you. You have a lot of lobbying and promotion to do. Just to share with everyone, we have this kind of solar roof. I'm sure everybody has heard or seen before, the solar roof, where people collect electricity and actually sell it back to the developer, and the developer sells it back to the national electricity company in Malaysia. So there are actually these incentives that Eric was talking about to the users, where the developers install it free of charge for you, and you can actually save on electricity and bill and stuff like that. So I'm sure this product that we are talking about today, something green, is very beneficial to both the users as well as the entrepreneurs and the people buying it, right? But maybe the difference here is that you will actually reduce the sales from companies like Shabazz, because you'll be using less water, because you are saving water.
Yes.
Maybe you save that water, you sell it back to Shabazz. They can make some money from there.
Or sell it back to IWK.
Actually, interestingly, you said about the solar panel. I read, because I'm an engineer myself, I actually read an article that in between the solar panel and they have this green roof, or the greeneries in roof, actually boost up the production by as much as 30%.
Wow.
So it actually like a catalyst to by having
very good synergy
green
there.
roof and solar. I mean the greenery and the solar.
Yeah, we can work something along that lines and be more successful. So guys, we are back to our last two questions for the day. Maybe a little bit tough, I'm not sure. Our second last question for our guest today is what new obstacles do you foresee in expanding and cementing your position as a leader in the market? Because you are a pioneer, you are also a leader. Okay? And definitely there will be a few obstacles that you foresee, right, in trying to expand and make the market bigger for you. Could you share something with us, listeners, in these lines?
So at this stage, we are our biggest challenger. We want to be the best in what we do. So each installation that we have installed, our recent one is at a luxury condominium in
Klang Valley?
Just opposite KLCC.
Wow.
And so the
city center
at the next to opposite KLCC. So they initially it was an impossible task, but when they say it's impossible, that's when we get involved to provide a functional green wall.
Impossible is nothing, right?
Yes. So we challenge ourselves in terms of taking plants out of the ground and placing it onto the wall and making sure the plants provide the best in terms of aesthetic, functional, and also other benefits like fragrance or taking out the toxic in the atmosphere, and that interaction which every one of our user take ownership of the installation.
Would that wall be visible from the main road?
Yes, but it is visible from the main road, but it's also next to their swimming pool, so it's
both.
The best view is from
the swimming pool itself.
Swimming pool.
Wow! So I can imagine enjoying myself swimming and having a green wall beside.
Yes. So in a way, I think you can promote a smaller size green wall beside the restaurants where they plant the herbs and those ingredients. They just plug it fresh herbs.
Yes.
Which I found it difficult because I love to have fresh herbs in my cooking, so I found it so difficult. Recently, I wanted to buy thyme I walk around almost like 10 supermarkets. I couldn't find time. So that's a very difficulties for us to get herbs.
In today's generation, I think it's people are able to source for some of these herbs and spices, but you don't know where it's coming from. This generation wants to plant their own herbs and spices, so that it's not just the interaction with the plants. I need to know where my food is coming from, not just for the cost effectiveness. So we provide this kind of system that allows for the new generation to interact with plants, but also have their basil, thyme, rosemary, lemongrass, pandan for their rendang close by. And not just for cost effectiveness, but being able to know where
easy access,
your
fresh,
plants are coming from.
You are planting it.
Correct.
And at times I did plant some basils, and it doesn't last me for 2 weeks and it die off. So these are the things that can look into.
Yeah, you need more guidance on planting stuff right from Jay.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, guys, our last question for our guests is, what do you expect your business to do for you personally?
We certainly see there is a big potential for this vertical wall, green roof, vertical farming. I think last year we just actually we started the association of vertical farming, vertical garden, and green roof. Actually was inspired by the old. You remember the Tan Sri Song. Actually, she's 90 years old and she's still going green. Yeah. And also, if you look at the modern building, especially now, you can see like in Taiwan, the Hualien retired home, and Singapore, the new Changi Airport. These are obviously
so Mr. Wong, what you're saying is this business actually gives you a lot of personal satisfaction, right?
Well, actually, one of the I won't mention the name of the politician, in fact one of the chief minister, he said, I see engineering is boring, why can't you make engineering creative? Yeah, I think as an engineer, I think this is something I take it as a serious challenge. Not only we make it
a personal challenge.
Also we want to create that engineering can be an art. So Jay already created some beautiful, we call it live picture. From far, you say, how can this painting be so real, so beautiful? But when you go near, it is actually a live plant,
right?
On a piece of wall.
So I believe you are personally very satisfied with this industry and this particular product, right?
Correct. We started off as social entrepreneurs, but by God's grace, now that we have eco-social entrepreneur and business mentors like Mr. Wong and EcoClean Technologies, we're able to create roundtable for young men and women who are from negative environments, from poverty, single mothers program, to come out of this
fantastic
environment and get into something positive. And we are blessed that with this hydrophilic foam and green wall and green roof, we are in a niche market, and the satisfaction of blending social entrepreneurship and eco brings a lot of personal satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yes,
fantastic.
Guys, you have heard from Jay and Mr. Wong. They are the entrepreneurs and pioneers of a lucrative new business called the Hydrophilic Green Wall. And for more information about their company and their products, you can contact them at www.empiregreen.com.my, or you can email to jayachambi@empiregreen.com.
J Achambi is Jay.
Jachambi. Sorry.
ACHAMBY @empiregreen.com, guys. And also .my. Right. All right, folks. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you, and we hope you've enjoyed our show. We'll be back with a brand new story for our Durian May show on ASEAN Biz in the next edition. Bye for now.
Thank you, Mr. Wong and Jay, for coming into our show.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you for having
Thank you.
us.
Thank you.